Rapper and podcaster Zuby is tonight's outsider. Big news, parliamentary staff are now banned from being taught about so-called white privilege, with civil servants vetoing use of the term, according to leaked internal documents. The concept refers to the supposed or perceived advantages enjoyed by white people compared to non-white people in British and indeed Western society. But it's been criticised in some quarters for being too simplistic and even divisive. This didn't stop parliamentary staff diversity group Parley Reach, encouraging colleagues to acknowledge their privilege and their internalised racism in the wake of BLM protests in 2020. Well, let's get the view of rapper, activist and top podcaster Zuby. Hi, Zuby.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm really well. Great to have you on the show. Zuby, is white privilege an important and true concept upon which white people should reflect, or is it a myth?
No, it's not a useful concept, in my personal opinion. I don't think it's accurate. I think it's an extraordinarily low resolution view on the reality of the world and on individuals. And I don't think that it's helpful. I don't think that it's accurate, and I don't think that it's helpful. It's extraordinarily divisive. I would argue that the concept in itself is racist, and some people may not like me saying that. But yeah, I don't think I wouldn't use the term myth, because I think we can all acknowledge that depending on who we are and all of our attributes, that we all have all sorts of advantages and disadvantages in society in various different ways. But I think to just reduce it to the concept of white privilege, especially if you're not going to talk about all of the other types of privileges that exist out there, then I think you're doing a massive disservice. And I think that this is primarily being used as a weapon rather than as something that's actually going to bring people together and help people.
Yes, I mean, this expression, Zuby, white privilege, has been floating around for a while. What did you first make of it when you heard the expression?
Well, if I hear something like that, my first question is, well, what exactly do you mean by that? Now, oftentimes people who use this term will say that it is, people describe it in different ways. Some people will just simply say that it means that your skin color is not a disadvantage, or that you're not going to experience racism. Other people will say that there are some, genuine advantages and benefits that you sort of directly receive based off of this. And oftentimes people conflate it with what I would simply describe as majority privilege. If you are in any nation, there is a majority population in terms of race or ethnicity in many cases. And oftentimes a lot of the things that people would call white privilege, I would argue, are simply elements of majority privilege. And I would say that if you're going to talk about that sort of terminology, as I said before, then I would be more accepting of it if people were also open to talk about the various other concepts of privilege that could exist, not just on racial lines, but on many others. I mean, if you were to think of the things that truly make people advantaged or disadvantaged in our society, then to sort of reduce it to race being the primary thing, which is what that phrase suggests, is entirely disingenuous, and it's not accurate either.
Well, I suppose, Zuby, it ties in with so-called critical race theory, which suggests that to a degree you are prejudicial or even racist just as a consequence of the colour of your skin. In other words, if you're white, you harbour racism even if you don't know it. Is there anything in that?
It's garbage. It's a garbage concept. And I don't understand why anyone would be wanting to push this on other people. It's not good for white people. It's not good for black people. It's not good for people of any color. I don't think it's good to be telling young black or brown boys and girls that they're inherently disadvantaged in society and that white people are out to get them or are inherently privileged. In a weird way, it's actually a sort of inverted version of white supremacist concept. It's just kind of this weird left-wing version of it. And I don't think it's good to be going around and telling young white people or white people in general that they are somehow architects of, that they're playing into this racist system, and whether they know it or not, that they're racist or that they're this or they're that. I don't see how any of that helps society. I think it's much better to treat people as individuals in all of these situations, not to be constantly obsessing over race and sex and gender and sexuality with all of this stuff, and just to see people as individuals, treat people equally. Don't try to shout people down based on their race or their gender or anything like that. And, don't give people unfair advantages nor give people unfair disadvantages. Just have an equal and fair playing field as best as we can. And I think that's the best that we're going to get as a society. And I do think that we've made incredible strides. We've made incredible strides forward on this over the past several decades, let alone century. And I think that's positive and it should be celebrated.
Amen to that. Look, I've only got a couple of seconds left, but Zuby, I can't not mention the fact that you are a top rap music star. You're a businessman, entrepreneur. Of course, you've got your hit podcast as well. And you've now got 1 million followers on Twitter. What's the secret of your success? 1 million followers.
Don't buy into the victim mentality. Recognize your own potential and you have your seeds of greatness, whoever you are. And so just keep on working. Believe in yourself.
Listen, you are a hero to me. What a star. Do check out Zuby on Twitter. It's at Zuby Music, isn't it?
That's right, at Zuby Music.
Great stuff. Zuby, we'll see you in a week's time. Fantastic stuff. What a hero, as I say. Now, coming up...